Um, so yeah, I just got into podcasting, and then I just kind of kept up with it. It's fun. I enjoy talking to people, and like I said, when I follow people on Instagram, it's kind of weird because you do follow somebody and you're paying attention to highs and lows, um, and you kind of just wonder like is it always like that? What kind of life do they live? Are they really all about jujitsu their whole life? Do they have a backstory? How did they get into jujitsu? Is it a family thing? Is it a occupational thing?
Huh.
There's just so much that I wonder about people sometimes, and then so I was like, I'll just start talking to these people. I'm sure they'll be up for talking, and then again, I talk to my friends as well, who are comedians. You're more than free to ask me questions. It's not just like me asking you questions. If you just want to like, hey, this, we can talk about that too. All right, so we'll start the podcast. Can you tell me like your real name and then also your nickname and how that came to be?
Yes, I can. So my real name is Catherine. I have a few different nicknames. So my name, I think on Instagram is look, and then my handle is Lachata, and then in Jiujitsu people call me Caca. So the reason I'm Catherine, but when I was in rehab about 10 years ago, and when I was there, I had a therapist, and she was like, listen, your personality sucks, because it honestly really did back then. I was very dark, very like, hated everything, hated myself. And she was like, since I like acting, she was like, well, you should have like a alter ego. And so she was like, well, what's your middle name? And I was like, Rebecca. And she's like, okay, we're going to call it Rebecca. And I was like, no, I do not like that name. And so she was like, well, pick a name. So I picked La'Catherine, and that came from like way back in the day when like YouTube was first like being like a thing and people were making like videos.
Hmm.
There was this girl that I saw, and her name is Sarah Hyland. Maybe you've heard of her. She actually is in LA right now, but she made this video on YouTube, and like the whole thing was like, she's like, I wonder if my life would be a lot different if like I put an LA in front of my name. And so like people would be like, hey girl, what's your name? And I'd be like, LaSarah. So it's just like a funny video. I can send it to you. But so I remember like when my therapist asked me, I was like, well, I'm gonna put an LA in front of my name. So then I became Catherine. And then just through that I was La'Catherine, and then my handle on Instagram is LaChopsticks, and that came from my actually my sponsor at the time. Her dad, he's from China, and I forget what we were talking about, and he was visiting, and he just was like, "Oh, your legs are like chopsticks," and so then my handle, because I think that was when I was first making an Instagram, so it became LaChopsticks. Uh, but nobody really calls me that except for he used to. He just said my legs looked like chopsticks, and I was like, all right. And then I stuck. And then in jujitsu, I feel like jujitsu people, especially like if it's like like they love to give nicknames to people. So I guess Kaka is like a name for Catherine, like a short for Catherine. So now I'm called Kaka in the jujitsu community. So there's my name.
That's funny. Well, Kaka, I'm not sure the shortness. So, like, are you Hispanic?
No, I'm very white
Okay,
and
so
well half Canadian.
that was one thing that I was wondering when I saw your name. I was like, La Chopsticks. And I was actually talking about it to someone else, and I was when I was because I was talking about doing the interview with you, and I was like, I wonder if she's Hispanic because it's like La Chopsticks. So I was like, so I wonder if that's something, or maybe someone nicknamed her who she knew was Hispanic, or someone Hispanic nicknamed her because I think you said people like to give nicknames in jujitsu. So like Hispanics love giving people nicknames, and so when I
Uh-huh.
saw you and I saw the nickname, the handle, I was like, oh okay, yeah, La Chopsticks. She goes because she's thin. It just kind of made sense. But it's just a nickname that someone gave you as well for the same reason, pretty much.
Yes. Actually, I don't even think it really. Nobody calls me chopsticks or anything like that. It's more the. It was just like a moment in time that happened, and I was like, oh, I was creating Instagram, so I just put. I kept the LA because of that was kind of like my sober personality that like started to become, So I just put the law in front of the chopsticks, and
Oh, okay. See, I thought it was just like I thought you were Hispanic, and I thought you were just putting a lot of chopsticks, like oh,
no,
Spanish lie.
no, but I like it. I like that kind of creating a different like vibe for yourself, because that actually like I remember when my therapist did that, like I was just kind of like, this is stupid. Like, why are you making me like have a different name? But it kind of worked. Like in the end, like, I started to open up more and I started to like let my kind of weirdness, because I'm a very like weird person. I kind of let that kind of just become its own thing and just kind of like owned it. So yeah, but I'll send you on Instagram the video that I got inspired from, which actually is cool because so many years later, I followed this person on Instagram and we ended up like kind of becoming friends, which was cool because I think I made a post. She like made a post that was like, it's been X amount of years since the Lacera video, and commented on it, and I was like, do you know this video like changed my life literally, like, and I was like, I got sober because I put the LA in front of my name. And so she responded, and then we kind of like built like a little like online relationship, like just friends. So it was cool. I was like, oh wow, like.
Yeah, that's amazing. And then how did you get into jiu-jitsu? Because that's kind of how I follow you. I usually get into something and the first thing I do is I just try to like get a hold of the people who do it. And some people,
Uh-huh.
obviously there's a lot of people who do jiu-jitsu, but I think there's people who have more fun with jiu-jitsu, which is what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to win a tournament. I'm not even.
Hmm.
I'm hoping to never even have to ever use it, other than maybe some play fighting or something, and some rolls. I just want to have fun with it, and so I think I came across a few people who I started following just because they came up when I was like scrolling, and then I'll be like, I'll follow, and then over time, there's people who I'm like, I'm not so interested in what they're going doing, and then all these people are continue to be interesting, and I'll continue to watch. How did you get into jujitsu?
So I want to say I've been doing jujitsu now. I think I'm going on 6 years. I started in 2017. I think so. If the math is correct, I think that's 6 years. But so before that, I started working at, like, once I got sober, I started working out at the gym, and at the gym that I was at, there was this big, huge German man who taught. It was called Ishin. It was this like kind of karate. It was kind of like a mixed martial arts. Like it was boxing, karate. Like it came from Eastern Germany. Like he was taught by this Russian man. So it was just like this whatever. And he invited me to the class, and so I started training with him. So when I was in the first rehab that I went to, I met this woman and we became friends on Facebook like years later. And I remember I would see her post pictures of herself in a gi, and then
Hmm.
I was doing this other part. And then one day we went to a mutual friend's event. She was like an exotic pet owner, and she was doing like a show with all her pets. And I was there and I ran into this person and I was like, oh my God, hey, how are you? Like, and then I was like, hey, I see you do stuff in a gi. Like, what martial art do you do? And then she mentioned jujitsu and she invited me. And so then I went one day and saw like her, like, went to the training to the class, and I like fell in love with it. And the German guy, he ended up becoming like a corrections officer. So he stopped teaching what he was teaching. And then since then, I've just stuck with jujitsu. It was kind of like love at first sight, I guess you could say, because it was like, oh my God, this is like the coolest thing ever. Like, and I really like from the beginning, like I was like hooked, like I was training twice a day, every day. Like I was trying to go to all the classes, like 7 a.m., 12, 6 p.m. Like I was just trying to get as much of it as possible. And so I think that's kind of how I got good at it, was because I practiced a lot, especially in the beginning. I mean, even till today, I still train twice a day, like it's just something that I got hooked to.
You fell in love with jujitsu. What about jujitsu did you fall in love with?
I think for the first time, I found something that was mine, like nobody, like it wasn't something my parents forced me to do growing up. It wasn't something that, I had to do. It was something I found for myself.
Mm.
And also, like, I was like, I always thought of myself as very like weak and like I was always picked last for sports, right? So there's always going to be just one kid that has that title, and that was me. I was always picked last. Like nobody wanted me on their team. Like I tried to play soccer because my cousin was really into soccer and was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And I remember just being made fun of. So I was like, I never thought of myself as like an athletic person or somebody that was like capable of being strong. So for like the first time, I feel strong and feel capable, like, so it empowered me, and it really, like, today I can walk across the street and not feel scared about anything, because I know how to defend myself. I know how to use my body. And I think that's what I love about jujitsu is we can be all shapes and sizes and ages, and it doesn't matter, but you can create your own style and your own game, and I really love that about it. So I think it was, yeah, just the first time that I was able to find something for myself that was like, wow, this is like mine and I can make it mine and it can help me to feel, good about myself.
For myself, it's been not really something. Everybody always has their reasons of why they fall in love with jujitsu. Some people learn things from jiu-jitsu and they apply it to their life. So being disciplined, that there's levels to understanding of everything. So there's the levels of the belts, but there's also levels of, like, sometimes you see someone who's good at jiu-jitsu and you're like, oh, I wish if I had a body type like that, I would be a better football player, I'd be a better basketball player. But jiu-jitsu teaches you that if you change your mindset of not trying to have these attributes, or rather understanding your attributes and how they play with other people's attributes, it's more like chess. And I've noticed that when people talk about
Mhm.
it, that's what they enjoy about it, that they're really using their mind. They're able to use their body to their advantage, and then you can apply that to your job. Maybe you're not the cheery person that everybody likes, but you're the person that gets shit done. So you're just got to find your advantages and play with that. I mostly just go
Yeah.
for when I feel out of
I
shape.
think,
If I feel out of shape, then I usually go for
yeah.
jiu-jitsu.
Like, so I always say, like, if I were to describe like me and the things that I like, my top three things are: I'm in recovery, so I'm a part of Alcoholics Anonymous. Even though it's anonymous, I tell everybody. uh I do jujitsu, and then I also do improv. And like those three things, they relate so well with each other and so with life, that it's like I love that too about jujitsu is like the things it shows you who you are, it shows me like different aspects of my life. It shows me things I don't want to look at about myself, Same with improv and with, being in recovery. And it really teaches you to live in the moment because if you're thinking about else, next thing you know, somebody's on your back, if you're not truly present in that moment and just letting yourself be, or if you're caught up in your emotions, because I'm getting better, but I've become a very emotional fighter, like, and so I'm getting better, not as emotional as I was previously, but it really like helps you, truly be in touch with yourself. And I think that's too another reason why. And then yeah, you get to feel in shape, you get to feel strong, like I can definitely tell when I have taken a break, or when I'm coming off of an injury or something like that, where it's like you just don't feel as good as when you're constantly going.
You mentioned injuries, and I think that's one of the parts that suck about wanting to get into a sport is getting hurt and not being able to do it and wanting to do it. And then when you recover, then you got to start that whole, well, for me, I got to start that whole process of not being lazy about going early in the morning and getting back into my routine, because for a week or 2 weeks, I didn't have to get up at 4 in the morning anymore to go to practice. I didn't have to um, rush home
Mhm.
from work to grab my bag and get to the gym to make the time to do a couple rolls. Like, I broke that routine, and so then I got to get back into it. So those are like the parts that I hate about getting hurt. What are some of the stumbling stones that you've had in keeping up with your jujitsu and the goals that you have?
So the way I feel about injuries now is a lot different than when I first started. Like I remember when I first started, I like broke one of my big toes and I was very paranoid because I'd never broken something. I had never like gotten really hurt. And I remember like I luckily have a friend who he saves all of us jitsu people down here, and because he is an X-ray technician, so anytime something goes wrong, he's like, "Come by." Like the doctor there loves like athletes because I feel like maybe I don't know why but he loves it. So super paranoid, and I'd be like, "Okay, I need to take time off. I need to not go." But now I've whenever I get injured, like I've been blessed that like none of my injuries have been like huge. Like I've broken toes here and there and I've had pretty bad like strains or like popped things in my knees, but now when something happens, to not break that routine, because yeah, once you break the routine it's harder to get back into it. Now I still go and do what I can, like if I've popped my knee, then I work on half guard, or so I try to find the things that I can still do, and not when I get injured, or like I go down to a dark place, you know, like the drug addict, alcoholic in me, like I can go down pretty hard and pretty fast. And so if I don't continue my routine, like I'll just sit there and be depressed and be mad and be like blaming everything. So it's like I've learned about myself, and that's what's helped with, you know, everything else is like I can at least go and see what you can do, you know, like if I hurt my wrist, like because I've had wrist injuries where now I'm just going to try to play one handed, you know, and see what new things I can develop. And every time I know I have an injury and I've started to see what I can do, it adds to what I can do once everything is fully healed, you know? So I think it's just about not quitting, and it's about, or not that you're quitting, it's about taking the time off that you need to let something recover, but also continuing to do the things that you can do.
What belt are you at? Was it purple?
I got my
Okay.
brown belt. Yeah, in April. Yeah, I got it in April. Yeah.
Okay. Is there any like interesting things that you do for recovery? I know people test like cold baths. People do ice. People do warm water. People Epsom salt. Some people do herbs.
I am like a full believer in cupping and acupuncture. Um, all the like real major injuries that I've ever had, gone and gotten acupuncture on it. Like I've broken both of my big toes, and in the break, like I lost all the mobility, and I was just convinced that I was never going to be mobile again, you know. And I had a friend who did acupuncture, and so I went to her, and I felt like it cured my toe. Like I have full range of mobility in it. And then same thing, like I've hurt things in my back or my hip, or I popped one of my knees. And I had another friend who also does acupuncture. And so I went to her. And so I truly believe in cupping, acupuncture, and a TENS unit. Those are like my best friends. I haven't done acupuncture in a long time because the girl I was seeing, she moved. So I haven't found somebody yet again that I can, you know, that I trust and that like knows injuries, you know. So, but those would be my top three things for recovery. I did try during the pandemic. Me and one of my friends, Kat, she moved into a apartment right next to me, and so during the pandemic, her and I would make a corn dojo in my house because I had some mats, and we would always like train with each other. And we tried to do an ice bath at her house once, and we put way too much ice, and since then I just I haven't gone back to the ice bath. I want to though, but I feel like you have to have the ratio right, because we had like, I don't even know, like 4 or 5 bags of ice, and so it was like you could barely even step in, and I'm just like, Kat, I don't think this is right. This is not, I don't think this is how it's supposed to be. I was like, we need socks on, I don't know what we have to do. So I feel like if like I would be willing. I hate being cold, so it's like good that I was born in Florida, because I hate the cold. Like my body is just not used to that. I need multiple layers of sweaters, multiple things, but it's something that I would like to do because it's challenging. You have to like challenge your mind. I've done one of those cryotherapies before though, and that was cool. I mean, it was very cold, and it was like not a good time while in it, but it was also, I did feel better after it, but it's not something I consistently do.
I was gonna ask you a question earlier, and I'll ask it now about the gym loyalty. So I got in a situation where it was convenient for me to do any exercise in the afternoon after work. So I was going to a particular gym that was really close to my home, and I really liked it. I got into jiujitsu, I got into boxing. I do the MMA here and there, um, but again, it's when I really feel I want to be in shape that I go. But recently, I got busy with doing murals and a, a job that I had for a while. And so I was like, you know what? I'm missing classes. I think I'd rather go in the morning. They didn't offer morning classes where I was at. So I went around town looking for a morning class. So I found two gyms that I liked. I went and checked them out. And then in conversation with all these gyms, like there was like this, you can't be at two gyms situation, and I was just like, why? And they explained to me that it was because of the belt system. They're like, I can't promote you, and another person not want to promote you, and vice versa. I'm not gonna have you come in here and be a blue belt when I don't feel that you're a blue belt. I was like, I don't give a fuck what belt I wear. I'll wear a white belt. The whole time. You know, you even got to give me a stripe. I could care less. I just want to roll. I need somewhere to roll in the morning, you know? I'm not really trying to be a part of your gym. I just need somewhere to roll in the morning. And so,
Mm-hmm.
and then apparently through word of mouth, through a couple other people, apparently the two gyms that I was attending to kind of well, one I was already going to, the other one I was doing like the trial to find out if I wanted to be in it. But in signing up, they were telling me this whole gym loyalty thing. Well, it turns out that these two, I don't know what to call them, the two teachers of the class, um, competed a while ago. Like they've always had like a rivalry. So now I'm in the middle of like two gyms that don't like each other, and I'm like, I don't give a fuck, man. I just want to roll with people. I want to get better at this shit, and I can't find a schedule that's convenient for me at either one of you guys. So like, I need to jump between both of you to just. I don't care. I'll pay the extra. Like it seems like 100 for one and 100 for the other. So I was like, I don't mind paying the 200 if it means that whenever I feel like rolling, I can just go somewhere and do it. But apparently that's not a thing. So is this true where you're at, or have you came across this before?
I did kind of come across it. But I also think so. I started at one gym and now I'm at a different gym. And I started at this one gym, and then through the one gym that I started at, I met the people that I currently train with. And so, I think, and like I met them, and then there came a point where I really just felt like the place started at, I have nothing against them, and I love, like, it's still a great place. I love the professor there, like it's a great place, but it just really didn't feel like my home. And training with the other people I was training with, which I'm at right now, I felt like that was my home and that's where I needed to go. Um, but in the beginning, like, I remember professor, he was like, no, it's because these people, they invited me to come do this pro training with them. And I remember being like, me, I was a blue belt, like, I don't even think, maybe I was a year training jujitsu, and I remember being like, wait, you guys want me to come train with you? Like, what do you mean? Like, it was like these two worlds. So it's I train with Luana Alzugir and Anna Carolina Vieira, like two multiple world time champions, like female, like the top of the level. And I remember just being like, me, you want me to come train with you? And at the end of the day, like, they gave me what I wanted, like, at the end of the day, like, I want to be a world champion. I want to be at that level. I want to know the way that they know jujitsu, and the guy I was training with, he's amazing at jujitsu, but he's also really good at MMA. So I was like, I feel like if I wanted to do MMA, I probably would have stayed there, but they had what I wanted, so I ended up switching schools. But I think if you switch schools, like, I think it's important to have somebody know, like, because back in the, like, when I was in this, my ideal scenario was like, they're both going to promote me, but that's not how it works, So I think if you do something properly, like, you let, like, whoever you want to be your top person, if you say, hey, if you do it properly, I think it's right. Like, before I joined the gym I'm at now, I sat down with my professor at the time and I said, hey, like, nothing against you. I just really feel this isn't my home, because I didn't want to burn a bridge or anything like that. I didn't want to just disappear, because he put a lot of time and effort in me, and he showed me some really, some good stuff, and he gave me really good fundamentals. So I didn't want to just leave and tell these people, hey, I'm joining your gym, without doing it properly, and not burning that bridge. So I think it's like, I don't know, it's weird, because it's like, now the place I'm at, I still have a few, I have a friend, that x-ray technician. I go and train with him sometimes, just ran every once in a while, because he's known me since I was a white belt, but they know that, like, on Saturday, every, like, maybe probably once or twice a year, I go train with him, but it's just to go train with a friend, So I don't know. I think it's, you need to decide for yourself. And also, that's only for you to decide, because I remember that was actually one of the biggest challenge that I almost was like, this is harder than being in recovery, because picking that loyalty, and I don't even know if it was loyalty, if it was just where my heart was at, and I had, at the end of the day, like, I had to pick where the people who had what I wanted were. And that's, why I ended up choosing Aviv Jiu Jitsu, and that's where I'm at now. And I really don't see myself, but again, who knows the future? I don't ever want to leave that place, because it's, there's so much of everything that I want that's there, and all the people there are very inviting and very warm and it's an amazing place to train and to be at. And so I think that this place, like, it feels like my home, and the other place just wasn't my home anymore. And I knew that. And I remember I would go to the gym, like, towards the end, like, just crying going to this gym, because I was like, oh my God, like, because if you were to ask me in the beginning, I would have never left the gym that I was at, because that's where I started. But then, as time went on, things happened. It was like I could feel it, I could feel that that wasn't my home. And I needed to, because I was training at both for, I don't even know how many months, but I was training kind of with both of the people. And both of them had a, understanding. Like the first gym that I was at, he knew that he was going to be the one always putting me and stuff. And they were just kind of like, she just comes here and trains, so but then once it was the switch, it was like, no, I want these people to be the ones who promote me and these people to be the ones who I learn my jujitsu from, was when I had to make that switch for myself. And so I, I don't think that, like, the way I view it, I don't think there should be like a, you can't go train with these people. You can't, because yeah, again, if you're willing to pay, you're willing to pay. But I know I want to always have that home base and have that place where it's like, this is my home base. But if I choose to go train with one of my friends who's at a different team, I don't think it should be a big deal or a big problem, as long as I'm not now only going to my friend's place and not here, that's when I know, am I wanting to train with these people or those people, and I think that's something you have to feel within yourself.
Okay.
Does that answer the question?
Yeah, yeah, it, definitely. I mean, it comes down to your preference and what's beneficial to you. Um, I know it just to me when these people talk about like gym loyalty, I feel like I'm in these like old times of these like in the movies, like these Chinese movies where like they have
Yeah.
this like the Shaolin and the Wu Tang. I'm just like, what the fuck is going on, man? I'm in America. Like, I just want to roll with some people and shit. Like, the fuck you talking about these gym loyalty shit? Like, to me, gym loyalty is like I'm not gonna like not pay you for the month.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pay you. You're gonna get paid. That's my loyalty. Like, the fuck you talking about? If I
I
don't
mean,
pay, I gotta get the fuck out of here. So where's the loyalty to me? Shit.
and I think that's it too. What's your goal in it? Is it you just want to go roll, have fun? Then, they shouldn't. Yeah, I think if you're clear of like who you want to be the, your like professor, and who you want like to be your like main school, and the other place just somewhere that you go to get extra training, then you'll have a better clarity of like, and they'll have a better clarity of like, oh, okay, well, this guy's just coming and training with us and it's great because he's helping us, we're helping him. And then the other place will be able to track your progress more, and I think that's where I kind of came a switch where it was like I was going to both places. I had my Monday through Saturday at the one, and then the other place I trained, I think it was like Tuesday, Thursday nights. I forget what it was, and it was I only trained with them these 2 days. And then it was like I could feel myself going to the gym that I started at and just being like, this isn't home anymore. And I just could feel myself wanting to be and wanting to learn from the other place, and it just was a whole like inner turmoil battle that I had to go through, and had to decide like, what do I want, and so that's when, I made the decision. And, I still have a relationship with the other professor that I have. Like, we don't talk or anything, but we'll see each other at the tournaments. And he's happy to see my progress and see like how I've got how far I've gotten and how far I'm gonna go. So it's cool that like, because I've seen people do it wrong, where they just either disappear, join some other place, and it's like, I think now, because now I'm kind of become a coach, I'm like, man, that would hurt, like you spend time and effort into somebody and then for them to just disappear on you, I'm like, I could see how that would be like a, feeling if the person's loyal or not. But it's like, I think as long as you yourself are like upfront with everything and let everyone know like how you're feeling about the situation and what your intentions are, like then you did your part, and whether they have animosity or anything, like that's on them. You cleaned your side of the street, and then everything else is like, if that's your shit, that's your shit. But I let you know like, hey, thank you for everything you gave me, or hey, I'm gonna keep training with both of you. And I think that's the best part, is just being, as long as you can be upfront and honest and open with everybody, that way they like know, then that leaves no room for people to create stories in their head, because I know for me, I love to create stories in my head and have things like that never even happen and hurt my own feelings, like I'm like, that's what I do inside my brain. And it's like, if I can be upfront, um then that saves me a lot more drama inside, and that saves everybody else. So
You mentioned that you've broken several toes.
yes.
So
Two. We have no.
two. So now, would you say that was due to, improper movement, or more of is just you don't have strong toes? I don't
No,
know.
I would say that's free. Like everyone's scared. I think people are like scared to compete sometimes because they think they're going to get hurt competing. But what I've learned is like you're more likely to get hurt training just regularly than in a competition, you know? So both my toes that broke were just kind of like freak accidents. Like, like the first time I broke my first big toe was it was just a freak accident. The
So I think I'll talk a little bit about more of how I got a hold got to know you. So obviously, like I said, I was scrolling, and I was just trying to find people to follow who do jujitsu because I was getting into jujitsu. I think I came across a video of you like dancing at a tournament, and I just kind of thought that was like the energy that I was looking for. Because, like I said, like I didn't want to follow the Gracies or anything like that. I wanted to follow people who love jujitsu, and it seemed like they liked it for the same reason I liked it. So I saw that you were just kind of having fun. You were being yourself. You were, trying to, either get into the zone of your fight, or, you were doing something for yourself that was not relevant to the world, but the world took a look at you doing it, and they recorded it. And that's how I got to know you. So at that point, I guess, were you already kind of well popular, or was that kind of a tipping point for you to get some popularity?
That's what kind of blew me up a little bit. Yeah, I'd say that was my like kind of break into the jujitsu world a little bit. Like obviously I train with like people who are very famous in jujitsu, but I wanted to bring the energy I bring on in an improv show, like a performance. And so once I started thinking of, because I came to a point where I was like, you know what? I don't care if I win or if I lose. I just want to be able to perform and to show that like I have a good jujitsu and to show that like I have fun at this and I loved it and I love this. So I started to look at it as a performance aspect. And so dancing and listening to, and literally all the songs that I listen to are like so corny and they're like, people would be like, why? Like, I think that video I was listening to, Evacuate the Dance Floor by Cascada or whatever her name is. And I remember just being like, just like getting myself into that space, and I was so close to winning. I ended up getting silver that tournament, but the flow grappling guy recorded that, posted it, and then like I remember when I went back to my Instagram, I had like 3,000 followers or something, and I was like, holy shit, like what happened?
Another thing that he does too, which I thought was kind of goofy, because I said the other gym doesn't do warm ups, and this guy does warm ups. But I've also heard about other gyms that do these warm ups. But all the exercises that we were doing, even though they were like, damn, this shit's fucking tiring, and what's the point of this shit? Like, I'm just swinging my ass and my hips across the floor for fucking 20 minutes. Like, what am I doing? And so it wasn't until I was trying to get better and I was able to get at of shit that I realized, like, oh, I'm doing the fucking exercises. So when people were like on top of me and I was trying to get off of me, I would do the exercise. I would push off and throw my ass up to like get out from their legs, or And so then like, oh, when people were on my back, but I didn't want to roll. I wanted to get up off of my back, like off of the ground. Like I wouldn't just like get up. I would do a bear crawl. I would push up and get into a bear crawl and then try to get them off whatever way I could try to get them off. But it was like it was so weird. And I remember there was a moment where I was like, "Oh shit, this shit's like Karate Kid, man! I'm fucking wax on, wax off in this motherfucker right now." Have you had any experiences of that? Of like, I don't know what you guys do in the gym, but have you ever had like your aha moments?
Yes, so many times that like there's been so many moments where either you get the move that you've been drilling or learning, and I remember especially in the beginning I'd be so excited, be like, oh my god, I got that move, that I would freeze, and then now the person's on my back. So I've learned now to like practice continuing after being excited about getting a move. But yeah, like we also do warm-ups, and all the warm-ups that we do, like now I have a better understanding because it's like some of the warm-ups you're like, how is that related to jujitsu, or how is that something? And then sometimes they'll show you, they'll be like, hey, this move is the exact same when you're trying to do this, you know? So it's like, I think that's what's important about the solo drills and the warm-ups is like you're practicing the movements you're going to need and you're going to use and to train your body, cuz like if you think about it, most humans all we do is sit, walk, stand, lay down, sit, walk, stand. Nobody really learns how to use their hips and use, you know, their core in these ways that you need to in jiu-jitsu, you know, cuz you need to be able to manipulate your body in ways that like you're just not, you're like you're never going to see somebody doing hipscapes down the street, you know, like that's something that people don't do, you know. And so it's always, sometimes it's so, because now it feels, you know, now I'm like, okay, I understand how my hip needs to work. So it's like sometimes when it's a brand new person and you're trying to show them like, no, you do this, you need to do this hipscape, push your hip out to the side, and they just don't get it. It's like, oh my God, it's like, but that was me in the beginning. I just didn't get it. I'm like, what is this? You know, and it's like, that's why it's like the practice of it, you know, like over time, you're going to understand your body's going to have those natural reactions built into where someone's passing your guard, you're already bringing your leg, you're already shrimping out, you're already doing these things. So, you know, I love whenever we're doing a technique and I'm able to get that in the rolls or live, you know. And I remember there's one aha moment that I had when I first started training with my current professors. And I remember it was like the first time I trained with one of them, and we're training, and then she swept me, and then she just goes to me in the middle of the roll. She goes, "Why did you accept it?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Why did you accept the sweep?" And I was like, "Oh my God, you can fight back and not stay on the bottom." Like I remember like my mind own. I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "No, you don't have to like accept being swept. You can fight to stay back on top." And I was like, "Oh my God." And like there's been so many of those little moments that like that's one big one that sticks out, especially with my current professors Luana and Anna Carolina, where I'm like they say some things or they do some things where I'm like, "Oh my God, that makes so much sense." Like I remember my life changed after that moment. I was like, "You don't have to let the person sweep you, like that's not this whole thing," you know. They're like, "No, you can fight to stay on top." It's like she probably swept me and didn't even try to go on top, and I just probably was laying on the ground. I don't even know, like, remember what it was, but I just remember like my mind was blown. It was like, oh my God, like, okay, I'm understanding the rules of the game, you know, like, or how to play this game. So yeah, I think that's what's so cool about jujitsu is like you just get to learn, and you always get to learn. You get to be better, and you get to be better than yesterday. And sometimes maybe you're not better than yesterday, but that's the goal, you know, just be a little bit better than you were the day before.
What was one of your like biggest like stumbling stones when you first started? Like for myself was getting beat up by a 15-year-old. I was like, this is so embarrassing, man. Like this 15-year-old just whooped my ass and there was nothing I could do about it. Like this, and it didn't help. Like, but in my, and then I tried lying to myself, you know, like, oh, like it's just because I'm out of shape and I haven't been running, and you know, this kid's been doing this his whole life. Um, but then I was just like, nah, I just need to be more disciplined and be more consistent and go. Um, so there's just kind of these small hurdles of excuses not to continue. Did you have any of those?
Definitely, you know, especially like when I first started, not so much. Then when I got my blue belt, I remember was the first time I decided to compete at Worlds. And I remember I went there, I won my first match, and then I lost my second match in like 30 seconds. And then every competition since then, I kept losing in the first like 30 seconds, you know, or minute. And I remember it was to like, yeah, like 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds. And I was like, you know, at the time I was 20, so I'm 32 now. So I remember just being like, this isn't fair. Like, you know, they started when they were 4 years old. Like, you know, I started when I was four, I would be this, you know. And so I of course had that, like, where it's like, man, like that's not, you know, like, and I used to be, then I was like so happy when I could compete the masters divisions where I'm like, okay, now it's somebody my age and it's not this like freaking 16-year-old person. But then once in my towards my purple belt, I started being like, you know what? Screw these kids. I'm gonna go out there and fight in the adults division. Why not? See where I hold up, you know. So my mindset has changed, and now it's like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna show you, hey, like this 30-year-old just beat you, you know, or is able to hang with you, you know, even if you started when you were 4, like uh you know, I'm fresh. You know, I don't have years of training on my body yet. You know, I'm still, so I'm like, it's okay, but I've definitely had those points where it's like, man, that's not fair. I don't know, my mind's always been like, this is fair or not fair. And I used to be very like, this is so unfair that you've been training since you were a kid and I'm here starting at 27. Like, how is that, you know, how is this equal? But, you know, now it's a challenge for myself that I can be like, you know what, like, okay, I just need to go in mentally preparing, like, okay, this is where I'm at. This is where I know my competitors, you know, level is or whatever. So, but it's definitely was a challenge in the beginning. I never wanted to like quit, but my emotions definitely would sometimes get the better of me where I'd just get super emotional or super upset about something. But now I'm able to work through that a little better than the beginning. But yeah, I think everybody goes through that, you know, or whether it's that or something different, you know, a big injury happening and not wanting to go back, or, you know, because I definitely, some of my injuries, I had fears going back. Like, I remember when I popped one of my knees, I remember I would sit in the training and watch people train, and I'm like, oh my God, everyone's body, like your knee, how is it going that way? Oh my God, can I do this again? And then, you know, I was able to do it again. And now I put my body in such weird positions, but it's fine, you know, because it's like, I think it's important too to trust the people you train with and to trust your, you know, professors that they're not here to hurt you, you know, they're not here to try to really show that they're better than you know, we're here trying to make each other better. And, you know, I think if you can't trust your training partners, then maybe there's something wrong there, you know. So
Mm.
I've been really lucky and that, you know, all the people that I train with, I trust my professors, I trust, you know, my gym and my school, and I trust what they're, the product that they're creating and putting out there. So I think that's really an important thing too, is to trust, you know, the process, but also trust who you're surrounding yourself with, and knowing that like, oh, this guy's not just here beating me up because he wants to make his ego feel better, you know. um and also for myself, I have to be like, okay, where I have to check my ego sometimes, you know. So I think as long as you can keep yourself in check, uh and clean your side of the street, you know, for everything and anything, like, and see like, are these things that want to make that make you want to quit, or these feelings like of, man, me fighting these 16-year-olds, like what is that really about, you know? What is that really about inside yourself? Like, and if you can honestly sit there and look at yourself and look at what that might uncover, then, you know, you grow as a person, you know, and you're able to continue, and you're able not to let that help you quit. Because there's definitely been times in my journey where it's like there was a turning point. It's like, am I either gonna just let this moment help me let me quit, or am I gonna continue, you know? And so only you can decide that and know which direction you're gonna go and what you're gonna let these thoughts or feelings control.
I think another thing about this gym that I like, I hope nobody thinks I'm trashing this gym. I love this gym. I just know that the shit that he does, other people don't like it, but I fucking love it. I think it's hilarious. He beat me up like one time, not like beat me up like a fight, but when I first started, he was it was, what class was it? I think it was it was the boxing class. So the boxing class, he was kind of beating me up, and then we went to jiu-jitsu, he beat me up, and then again when we got to MMA, he just combined all the ass whoopings and really whooped my ass at
Mm-hmm.
that point. And I kind of felt like, what an asshole, man. This guy fucking beat me up. Like, I tapped out. He kept hitting me. I told him, hey, no, 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 no. Like, I'm done, I'm done, I'm done. He's just like, boom, 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 boom. And he's just hitting me. Nothing crazy. He wasn't like going full, you know. He's just tapping me, kept tapping me. But I had already given up. So I was like, this fucker fucking keeps tapping me, man. To the point where I was like rolled over on my side, like trying to cover my head. And he just kept tapping me. And I was like, this guy is a fucking dick, man. Like, I don't think I want to, I don't want to fucking train here, man. This guy's going to hurt me. But then I got home, you know, and I told everybody I was sitting in the shower all fucking, you know, trying to get all the soreness out and just washing and just like reflecting on the ass whooping I received. And then I had a thought and I was like, you know what? If I'm not going for tournaments, I'm going to being able to defend myself and to get into shape. But it'd be nice to be able to defend myself, while, or it'd be nice to learn to get in shape while I learn to defend myself. But I was like, if I was defending myself in a situation like that, I can't tap out. There's no tap in a fight. I mean, unless you're a really nice person and someone just stops for whatever reason attacking you for whatever reason they were attacking you for. Um, so I started thinking of it as that way. Now this wasn't like a thing that he does all the time. Like he if you tap, he'll leave you alone. It was just that day he just thought it'd be funny to keep messing with me, and it was a hurdle for me where I was like, no, that's not fair. I don't like that, or you know what, he took advantage of me, and then and then now I came to realize it's like no, it's probably for the best, and it was a good lesson. And if you're here to learn to defend yourself, don't stop defending yourself. Continue to defend yourself because this is a fight. Um,
Hmm.
and so, how true that is, I don't know, but that's kind of what I told myself, and I just kept going, and it was fine. He also does this other random thing where if you don't wear his logo, so he has like T-shirts that he sells. He sells all kinds of shit. He sells shoes, T-shirts, sweaters, beanies, rash guards, all this shit that has like his gym name on it, which I see other gyms have that. He has a lot of it here and there, like different kinds, wristbands, all this shit. So if you're not wearing something that his is his logo, he makes you do 50 push-ups. And so at first I was just like, whatever. I needed a shirt anyways to work out, so I bought a couple T-shirts, whatever. And I was like, fine. And then I think it wasn't until like I got into it, and I was just showing up at that point. I wasn't really thinking about what it costs, like the time, the injuries. I was just like, I need to go, and I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna be there. When I got into that mentality, and I started seeing like kids like I saw parents and kids like, um, oh, he's just trying to take money from us. He's making us buy all this shit. And then I kind of thought about that, and I was like, that's not true. You're choosing to buy it. The choice is wear his logo or do 50 push-ups. You didn't want to do 50 push-ups, so you bought his damn beanie. You bought the shoes. You bought the sweats. You bought the sweater because you don't want to do 50 push-ups. So instead of letting your child get stronger, or instead of you getting stronger, you paid to avoid the pain. And I guess that's how I see it. I know if other people still don't see it as that. They see it as like, this guy's just trying to come up. I was like, no, he's coming up on you avoiding your pain, you avoiding your growth, you avoiding the whole reason why you came here is why he's profiting. You don't have to do it. It's not an obligation. You just either do 50 push ups or wear a logo. You chose to wear the logo and not get stronger. I don't know. What's your thought on that, I guess? What's your 2 cents on that? Mind you, you'll never meet this guy. He's a male. You'll never have to compete against him.
No, at our school, you have to like your gi needs the logo just because it's like we treat our school more of a school rather than like a Planet Fitness where you can come wear any mix match gi, any this like so ours is very like uniform. So
Mhm.
I like sense about feeling like you belong somewhere and you got a uniform and everybody's wearing the same thing, which is nice because it's like you don't come into the gym and you're like, oh my God, why do you have this brand new gi? Now I want a brand new gi, like whatever it is. But they will, if like you don't come with the logo, they'll sometimes like make you pay for not wearing the logo, like, yeah, do whatever, burpees, push-ups, whatever it is, but it's not like a profit thing to make you buy anything. So,
It's about
but
discipline.
huh?
It's about disciplining yourself, having your gi ready, getting home, washing
Yeah,
your gi,
having like
hanging it
looking
up to
nice.
dry, like
Yeah.
looking forward to your
Mhm.
day and your week. Like you're not living in the moment no more. Now you need to be prepared for your next class. You need to do your stretches. You need to take your vitamins, do your recovery, do your ice bath, do what you need to do to achieve your goal. Again, and that comes back to your jobs, your occupation, like it's not about clocking in and clocking out. I mean, some jobs are like that. There's not really much you can do about it. But in careers, you're trying to move up. You're trying to do certain things. So it's like, what can I do to better prepare for tomorrow so that when I go into that meeting, people look at me like a rock star, but they don't know that I was up early in the morning before you. I was up late after you went to bed. Um, And I just drank a Monster before I walked in that motherfucker, and I looked like I was a rock star and shit. I had all my shit together. But you don't know. It's not that I'm better than you. It's just I was willing to put in more work than you.
Yeah, so I mean, I like when gyms have their own little thing. You don't want to buy the logo, 50 push-ups, that's cool. We have, if you leave something in the gym, it needs to pay the rent. So to get whatever you left back, it's $1, So it's like, and I'm the police, so I'm always like, I'll send a picture of the water bottle and be like, who owes this money? So it's like, I like those little things, and I like when gyms can have like a characteristic to themselves, which is like of that gym. Like I don't know if he does that with visitors. If you visit the gym and he's like, well, to come in, you gotta pay your drop-in fee, 50 push-ups, or buy my t-shirt. I don't know if he does that, but it's kind of funny, and it would be like a characteristic. Some people would be like, all right, I'm out of here, but I think I would be like, oh, that's funny. Like, is that's your thing? Okay, because we have our things. You got to pay your rent if you leave something. And if it's a rash guard, we're probably just going to throw it away because that's gross. Like, so
Um,
everyone's got their own, so
for
support
guests,
you.
he's never. I think he just charges them. I think it's like whatever the drop-in fee is. I think he charges that, and he doesn't require them to wear anything. It's only if you're going to be like a student there and a member there. Um, so yeah, I haven't had that with guests, but he does do that, and I do catch like parents like making a big deal about it. But I'm just like, I'm always in the back of my head like, you don't have to buy it. He just requires that you do 50 push-ups when you walk in, and sometimes he doesn't even require you to do it like right up. He'll just tell you like at the end of class, go do it, and
Mm-hmm.
you'll see those kids like you'll see even the adults, man. They're like sneak out and they leave, and they think they got away with it. They go, and the next day, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, I didn't do my push-ups." He doesn't even realize I didn't do the push-ups. He knows. He has cameras, and he shows me. He shows me, and he'll be like, because I get along with the guy. We again we have similar like habits, I guess, and so like we just kind of always do random shit. So we talk about all the random shit we do and the people we know, and so he'll show me on his phone. He'll be like, "Hey, remember I told Luis to do 50 push-ups? The little shit didn't do it, man. He was supposed to take out the trash. He fucking booked it as soon as his mom pulled up. He just jumped in his fuck, put his slippers on, and got the fuck out of here. He thinks I don't know, and I'm not gonna say nothing because it's not about me. It's about him. It's a
Mm-hmm.
reflection of him.
Yeah.
Is he gonna respect me? Is he gonna do what I tell him? Does he, it, or is he gonna always look for the fucking easy way out?" And I was just like,
Mm-hmm.
fuck. Like this guy, it's just deeper where you go. Like the way he does his gym is just it's just deeper. He has this stupid shit where he tells kids some of the kids sometimes, like I said, the kids are running around, they step on people and shit. And so what he'll do if they start don't listen to him, or they do something, or they go around the corner and try to hide or something because they're tired, he'll pull them into the middle of the gym, and he'll have them do 1,000 push-ups in front of everybody. Nobody's gonna do 1,000 push-ups, but he just wants to see how long will you keep trying to do those fucking push-ups. Because you'll see kids like they'll do 3 or 4, and then when he's not looking, they'll stop, and they'll just wait, and then when he turns around, they'll start doing the push-ups again. And so they just do that for like 10, 15 minutes, and he'll be like, "All right, how many you do?" He's like, I did them all. And it's like, okay, all right, go back to the exercises. But you didn't do a fucking 1,000 push-ups, you lying sack of shit. But for him, it's more just like just to see where you're at, like where's your mind at.
Yeah.
At least that's how I read
Yeah.
it. Who knows? Maybe he's just an asshole. um, so we're gonna wrap up this conversation.
No,
I really
I
enjoyed talking to you about all the different stuff. I know you talked about how this has played a part in your recovery. We've talked about how long you've been doing jiu-jitsu, your nickname, how you came to be La Chopsticks. Do you have any goals for this year, as far as when it comes to yourself or
um
jiu-jitsu?
yeah, I'm trying to think or decide if I want to do Nogi Worlds. I think I want to. I'm just working on getting sponsors for it because I feel like I'm so close to, winning gold, winning a final, that I don't want to slow my momentum down because I got Pans, I got second, and then World Master, I got second. So I'm like, I feel like I have a good momentum going. So I'm like, I want to keep that momentum. So that would probably be one of my only jujitsu goals for the remainder of this year. And then next year, I want to do all the big tournaments again, like I've been doing, just to keep it going and to keep seeing how I'm progressing and to see this new belt, because this will be my fourth or fifth competition at brown belt. So it's exciting because now all the submissions are legal. Like now I have to be aware of my legs, so it's cool
Lame.
and it's yeah, so now I have to be aware of my knees, my toes, everything. And so it's cool to see what's been missing in my game, which is what I've been realizing is I leave my legs out a lot for people to attack. So now I'm like, oh shoot, I need to learn this. So that would probably be my only goal there. Um, and then I want to get back into my improv. I took a little bit of a break because I was concentrating on the competitions that I was doing. So probably this next couple of months, I'm gonna go back to my troupe, which is Playful Ensemble, and we perform in West Palm. So that, and then trying to figure out a way of what I want to kind of do next. I think I want to go into some type of like motivational type speaking, whether it's to tell kids not to do drugs or whether it's to cater to that kid who's, thinks they're unathletic or, feels so bad about themselves, to show like, hey, there's a way out, like I'm an example of there being a way out of everything. Like you might think you're weak, but you're actually stronger than you think. So I'm still a little unclear of what I kind of want to do life wise. Right now I do pet sitting, I clean houses from time to time, so I'm also like a jack of all trades. Like I'll do a little bit of anything and everything, like whatever I can do. So I'm trying to think of a way to combine all the things that I love and make it also be a way that I can make my living and be profitable off of. So I've always wanted to be like have that YouTube channel with characters and stuff and be super successful there, but it's like something I know I just need to put time and effort into to make that happen, because I really believe I can make anything happen. I mean, if I could have been a drug addict for as long as I was and made money to get the drugs that I needed, like if I could figure that out, I'm like I could figure something out. So I could figure anything out, because that's a hard life to live. So I just know I gotta be a little more clear on what exactly I want and then just go for it, because I've already made so much happen with jujitsu that I've wanted. I've traveled with it. I was able to become a Hyperfly ambassador, and almost, like work up towards like having something in jujitsu and becoming something. And so I think I want to be able to combine my jujitsu, my recovery, and performing in some type of whole package deal. I don't know what yet, but I think that's just the goal, is to just become a little more clear, win some gold medals along the way, learn a little bit about myself, and help the next person, help people uh, realize things about themselves that maybe they don't know that they can do or can be. So I would say that's probably the broad answer because I don't know the specifics yet. So
Have you ever been on a podcast before?
I
Because I looked at your stuff, but I
don't.
was thinking, I was like, I haven't seen her on any like programs or any like YouTube or anything.
I did no. I did one podcast with one of my improv troops a while ago, and it was
Hmm.
just like an improv podcast during the pandemic. But I think that's the only thing that I've done. I
So
have
like,
my Ruth Ann seen her. She's kind of been missing though a little bit on Instagram. I have another page and it's a comedy page for jujitsu.
okay,
I'll send
yeah,
you check her
send me the
out.
link. Yeah, I have to check it out. It didn't, because usually sometimes you add somebody and it'll automatically like show you their other pages, kind of, and you can just click on them.
Uh-huh.
No, that'd be cool to check that out. Um, I would love to know more about the improv and kind of the whole your situation with recovery and all that. I think I just wanted to concentrate on kind of just a little bit about you and jujitsu, but we definitely can do this again and get more into those details. So the reason I was talking about that was or commenting on that was because again, it's all just random people I've followed, right? And they're not necessarily people who are interested in being famous or people interested in podcasting, or they just kind of have an Instagram for themselves for the stuff that they do. Everybody has an Instagram, I guess. And so I've been interviewing a few people, and one of the people I interviewed, he had never been on a podcast before, which I didn't really expect him to be on one, but he was a graffiti artist. And he lived in another country. I interviewed him. I think he's episode 10, Rancholo, which is a combination of the word cholo and ranch. So ranch cholo. Um, but he had never been on a podcast. He didn't even know why I wanted to talk to him. He was just kind of like, I don't even know why I said yes. I'm just kind of like more interested of why you even want to talk to me. Nobody cares about my
Uh-huh.
art. Like nobody cares about my art. He's like, are you confusing me with so and so? Like he just kept coming up with like, you got the wrong guy. Kind of, he's like, are you confusing me with this graffiti artist? I get that sometimes. And I'm like, no, like you're this guy, right? He's like, yeah, and you do this art. And he's like, yeah. I was like, yeah, I've seen it around. And like, I really like it. And he's like, okay. And then I've noticed that I haven't had this conversation with him. I'll probably, now that I'm thinking about it, I'll message him. But in the last like month and a half when I interviewed him, recently this last week he's been doing talks. So he's been going to like universities and like art exhibit kind of where people just talk about their art and stuff. And he's been doing those things, and I was just like, oh shit! Like I wonder if like he just kind of like how you said you're trying to find yourself, and he was kind of talking about trying to find himself, and he was like, why are you interested in me? I was like, because you're interesting, fool. Like you're interesting. You might not understand that you're interesting, but you're fucking interesting without trying. And so he's like giving all these speeches now. He was at a university about a week ago, and then he was again at another presentation talking about his art, and he was promoting it. And so I was like, that's cool, man. Like he kind of realized that people do want to see him, and people do like his art, and he is an interesting person. Like, yes, there's plenty of great artists out there, and maybe you'd consider them greater and more interesting, but you at the time are more interesting. So it is what it is. So hopefully you find your thing, and maybe you can get the iceberg
Yeah.
boost. You can get the iceberg boost and get your name out
No,
there.
I was you asked me, I was like, do I like I was like trying to pinpoint you. I was like, have we met before? Because my friend during the pandemic, she has a tattoo studio and she opened up the Coop Comedy where she had a bunch of stand-up comedians come perform like they
Nice.
every month. Or actually like I forget how often the performances were, but we'd also do improv. And so I'm like, was he one of the guests that came? And then I'm like, I was trying to pinpoint you. I'm like, I don't know how I know this person, but I was like, I'm down because I've had a few people, especially jujitsu, like different jujitsu things that have asked, like, hey, would you be down to be on this podcast? But none of them have kind of come through, and maybe that's not their fault, not my fault, but we've never like followed through. Especially when I first started making the Ruth Ann page, I kind of fell off of her just because I was feeling uninspired. But hopefully, maybe this will put me back on, find some inspiration to bring her back. But yeah, so I was like, I don't know how this guy knows me, but I mean, I'm down. I'm always down to do something, try something new, and see what happens out of it.
No, I
Yes,
think
and the improv motto and whatever. So, thank you for asking me. I've definitely enjoyed this, and I would definitely be down to do parts 2, 3, whatever else you'd be down to talk about.
yeah, definitely, man, and hopefully I get disciplined enough, and maybe I'll see you at a tournament or something, and we fucking bullshit about that, man. I have a art competition to get to, and I have 3 hours to finish the painting, so I wanted to get this interview done. I appreciate your time. I had a
Good luck.
great had. Oh, I'm not gonna win. There's great artists out there, and I'm assisting. It's not really my drawing. I'm assisting someone else. I'm just helping them with it. Um, but what was I gonna say? No, I appreciate the time, man, and you were having a positive day. You're being yourself, and the world looked back at you and they enjoyed it, man. So keep being positive, keep being a great person. We all have our ups and downs, but um, you're an awesome person. And so it was great talking to you, and we can catch up again later. Have a good one, all right?
Yes, you too. All right, bye.